Hey guys, today what we're going to be looking at is 3.1D standard form. So if you guys could please have out your module notes. Feel free to watch this with headphones or without. And don't forget to pause it, go at your own pace. When you're done with this, you guys can start the Google spot check, and then you guys can go ahead and start your homework. Okay? So what we're going to be looking at is standard form. This also describes a straight line, but but it looks different. So the previous form we looked at was slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. We said m was the slope, b was the y-intercept. What we're going to look at now is standard form, and standard form will look like ax plus by equals c. So what we're going to do is go ahead and jump into these notes. Period 5, you're a little bit more ahead on this one, so you're going to jump to the table that we began filling out, so you can skip like a minute or so, okay? So, for period 4, we're going to look at this example and help me fill this out. When traveling in space, each astronaut is allowed to take a care package, basically a box of stuff. Items must meet the written guidelines to ensure safety. The weight limit of this care package is 11 pounds. If you are an astronaut and have decided to take candy bars and granola bars as your snacks, how many are allowed to take? Each granola bar weighs 6 ounces and each candy bar weighs 2 ounces. So what this is saying is you are going to space, you're going to take a bunch of candy bars that are 2 ounces apiece, a bunch of granola bars that are 6 ounces apiece, and you can only carry a certain amount. So if we have this table, it kind of illustrates the total amount of weight you can have. So the number of candy bars is 0. Well, if each candy bar is 2 ounces and you're bringing 0 of them, you'll have a total of 0 ounces of candy bars. Same idea, if you have 6 ounces, if you have 0 candy bars and each candy bar is 6 ounces, you'll have a total of 0 ounces of candy bar. And it shows you the total weight on the right here. So now let's go ahead and look at this. If you have 8 ounces of candy bar and each one was 2 ounces, that means you would have had 4 candy bars. Because if each is 2 ounces, you have 4 of them, you'd have a total of 8. Same idea, if you have a total of 24 ounces of granola bars and each granola bar is 6 ounces, you would have a total of 4. Because 6 ounces per granola bar, you have 4 of them, that would equal 24. So if you took your weight of 8 ounces of candy bars plus 24 ounces of granola bars, you would have a total of 32 ounces of junk food. Now, if you have 10 candy bars, remember each candy bar is 2 ounces. You have 10 of them, you'll have a total of 20 ounces of candy bars. Now, if you have 10 granola bars, each granola bar is 6 ounces. You have 10 of them, that'll be a total of 60. So if I take my total weight of candy bar plus my total weight of granola bar, you will have a total of 80 ounces of junk food. So hopefully that table makes sense. Alright, now it says if X represents the number of candy bars and Y represents the number of granola bars, write an equation that models the relationship between the weight of candy bars and the weight of granola bars and the total weight of snacks. So what it's saying is write an equation. Now this is going to be your first example of an equation written in standard form, so I want you to take notice to this. It is saying that every candy bar is 2 ounces. You don't know how many candy bars you're taking, so we're going to write X. This X represents candy bars. And then if I add that to my total weight of granola bars, remember, granola bars are 6 ounces per granola bar, but I don't know how many I'm taking there either, so we're going to write Y. So that's what this was saying. It said X represents candy bars and Y represents granola bars. Now this is going to add up. If I take up my total weight of candy bars, I take my total weight of granola bars, that'll give me total weight. So hopefully that makes sense there. So this is my first example of part of my standard form. So let's go ahead now and jump and look at this. It says, look at your equation of 2x plus 6y equals your total weight. Now it says, what does your x represent? What is the coefficient of x, which is this 2? What does this 2 represent in the context of this problem? The 2 represents the 2 ounces per candy bar. All right. So now let's go ahead and look at number 3. So before we go on, I just want you guys to realize it says that 2 ounces per candy bar. That 2 represents the weight of 1 candy bar. And then it says, by looking at that equation, 2x plus 6y equals total weight. What does your coefficient of y represent? Well, my coefficient of y is this 6, and the 6 represents the weight of 1 granola bar, because each granola bar is 6 ounces. So assume that you can take 6 pounds of snacks. So remember, you have 2 ounces for granola bar, 2 ounces per candy bar, 6 ounces per granola bar, and you can take 6 pounds. And it says find the possible combinations of granola bars that meet the 6-pound allotment, the amount you can bring. Allotment, I can't talk. Remember that 1 pound is 16 ounces. Well, guys, remember, we're going to take 6 pounds of junk food, and each pound is 16 ounces. So that means the total weight is 6 times 16. 6 times 16. This is all messed up. Let me bring that back up here. 6 times 16 is 96. That took a minute. Okay, so that means if I take my 6 pounds, I don't want it in pounds because my candy and my granola bar are weighed in ounces. I need to convert my 6 pounds into ounces by multiplying it by 16. 16 times 6 is 96. This is your equation that we are going to use to find out possible scenarios. So if you look at this, guys, I hope this makes sense. You can have 2 ounces per candy bar. You have 6 ounces per granola bar, and you can have a total of 96 ounces, which is equivalent to 6 pounds. So what I want you guys to do is fill out this table, and you want the possible situations where you would have a total of 96 pounds, 96 ounces. So the first thing, when you take your number of candy bars and your number of granola bars, you want the total weight on all of these to be 96. Now, I'm going to help you get started with this table, and I want us to find the extremes. So let's say you want to bring 0 candy bars. If you bring 0 candy bars, you're going to have 0 ounces, which means how many granola bars could you take? Well, if each granola bar is 6 ounces, we would just divide the 2 and see that I could bring 16 granola bars, which would be 96 ounces. Now let's say you want to be very unhealthy and you don't want to bring any granola bars. So down at the bottom I'm going to put 0. 0 granola bars, which means I'm only bringing candy bars. Well, if there's 96 of them, you can, if you're bringing 96 ounces worth of candy bars, how many candy bars are you actually taking? Well, each candy bar is 2 ounces. So if we just divided the 2, we would get 46 candy bars. Now what I want you guys to do is pause the video right here and find possible situations, possible answers of how many candy bars you guys can take and how many granola bars that you can take that would add up to 96. Now remember, guys, they're not going to, they have to exactly add up to 96. So go ahead and pause the video and do that now. Alright guys, so I'm going to come up with a few examples. I want you to compare your answers to mine. Some of them might be exactly the same, others might be a little different, but as long as they add up to 96, that'll be no problem. So let's say I am going to bring 6 candy bars. That means it would be 2 times 6 for a total weight of 12 ounces. Now, if I am bringing 12 ounces worth of candy bars, how many granola bars could I bring? Well, I would have 84 ounces left to bring, because 12 times 84 is 96. And if I divide that by 6 ounces per granola bar, let's see how many that would be. 1 times 6 is 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. Bring down the 4. 6 goes into 24 14 times. So that means here is another possibility here. I can bring 6 granola bars, 6 candy bars and 14 granola bars. Another option is, let's say you want to split it. You want to have exactly the same amount of weight in candy bars and the exact amount of weight in granola bars. That means each would be 42. So that means if I'm going to have 42 ounces of each, equal amount of weight, that means I would bring a total of 24 candy bars and a total of 3. No, that actually wouldn't work. I couldn't do that. Let's go and back up a little bit. So let's go ahead and choose a different value than that, because those values actually would not work. So let's say I bring 12 candy bars. If I brought 12 candy bars, that would be 2 times 12, which would be 24. And that means that I would have a total of weight of, let's see, if I do 96 minus 12, minus 24, that would give me 72 more ounces. And if I do 74 divided by 6, that would be 12. So I'd break it right down the middle. I would have 12 candy bars and 12 granola bars. And so let's say I did this again. I can go ahead and take 15 candy bars. That would be 2 times 15, which would be 30, which means I would have a total of 66 more ounces, which means I would have 11 granola bars. So guys, what I just want you to realize is the total weight will add up to 96 on all of these. Now, if X represents the number of candy bars and Y represents the number of granola bars, write an equation that models that relationship. We did in the previous page, but let's go ahead and rewrite that here. That would be 2x plus 6y is equal to 96. So what is the maximum number of candy bars you can pick? Write this value as an ordered pair. So what this is saying is, if I were to only take candy bars, so 2x plus 6y is equal to 96. And I only want to bring candy bars, so I'm not going to bring any granola bars. If I divide both sides by 2, I would get x is equal to 48. So when I have 0 granola bars, I would have 48 candy bars. And that's shown on my graph. And I can also do this is, what is the maximum number of granola bars? So if I look at my equation, it looks like this. If I brought 0 candy bars, how many granola bars could I bring? Well, if I divide both sides by 6, I would get y is equal to 16. Let's make sure I got that right. So 16, yes. Okay, so that means, writing that as a point, if I bring 0 candy bars, I would have 16 granola bars. So what we're going to do is, I want us to graph some of these points. So I could have 16 granola bars and 48 candy bars. I want you to notice that I just labeled the x and the y intercept, because that's going to help us on the next lesson. And my other possibilities that I had is I had 12 and 12. The other possibility I had, let's look at my other 2 points. I had 6 and 14, 15 and 11. So 6 and 14. And I forgot it already. What was it? 15 and 11. 15 and 11. Now I want you to notice that these are starting to make a straight line. So if I were to graph it, they would all be able to connect on that straight line. This one's a little off. It should be higher. Alright guys, go ahead and open up the next video to finish the lesson.